you're an outsider to the medical community and the medical world, which I find fascinating because I too, many people like to say Dr. Schultz, but I always say that's my father. I'm not a doctor. I understand medicine, but I wasn't indoctrinated into medicine.
And I appreciate that from you as well. I did notice that we're similar in that sense. Yes,
absolutely.
sir.
Also from European immigrants, you're from Greek immigrants. Of course, my parents from Poland. So there are those similarities as we get started. But maybe you, absolutely. But maybe you could share with the audience a little bit of how you did find yourself. You were in computer science as business admin. I think you were at IBM, or and then you found yourself going into medical devices, which is in many ways a very stale, you could say, type of career. But you've made it exciting, and I want to go into that. But tell us your story that led up into you starting your own company in medical devices and UBI.
Well, it's very interesting. I've got a very interesting past. My dad passed on when I was young, but he had developed a shopping center. We had retail stores, a liquor store, bakery, and a restaurant. I was in the D.C. When he passed. I'm the only son. I have 3 sisters, and I ran it for 7 years and tripled the business and found it very interesting. Rolling the sleeves up and getting it done. So we're hard workers. You coming from Poland, we're the same. We roll our sleeves up, work 18-hour days if we have to. So when we sold it, I told myself, well, one of my sisters knew I'm very good in math. She goes, Johnny, she was taking computer science at the time, and I had already had my business management before my dad had passed. So I said, well, I'll give it a shot. And the first semester, I was beating my head up against the wall. I didn't know how to turn a computer on or off. So I finally, when it clicked, Casper, it was like a light bulb went off in my head. Within the next couple of months, I became the assistant to the teacher. And for instance, COBOL, which was supposedly a hard program to learn, I could write it like the back of my hand. And it was amazing, my progression through the computer science industry. My first job was for a telecommunications testing manufacturing firm. They were owned out of Canada. And within 8 months, the guy that hired me worked for me. So I became assistant manager. And I think what happened is that my business perspective and management applications went into my understanding of how to write programs the proper way. So what I mean by that is folks that, they'll say you get out of high school and you go to college for computer science. You understand computer science, but you don't understand the marketing, the business perspective of that. And so I had both of those specialties, which I think added value to having me program. So not only was I the director, but I was actually programming until 3 a.m. myself because I was very fast, very good, and very efficient. I ran the Washington Times for 10 years as their business director. It just comes natural, the fact that automation, I look at something and it's natural to me to take a look at why are we doing it like this? Let's change this and this and this and make it more efficient. And we have safety features and we have verifications. And so I consulted for Microsoft for a while. We did the first Chrysler, what we call cloud, which was BPOS back then. And it was very efficient. And looking at details, I think, is part of my expertise. Probably you're the same way. When I got, after the Chrysler area, I started my health started declining a bit. I smoked for too long. I'll admit it. That was 7 years ago. I've quit. But by smoking, it took a deterrent. My dad passed away at 60, by the way. So I was a little concerned there. So when I hit 60, my health started declining a bit. I said, let me go to the doctors and get some analysis. And the analysis they were giving me, I didn't like. Number one, I don't think they personalized it to me. I think they were putting me in a category or group of COPD, let's do this. Arterial sclerosis, let's do this. So I started researching it myself. And I'm a very quick learner. I flew around the country and started looking at alternative medicine, homeopathic medicine. I talked to and am still friends with a lot of homeopathic doctors, DOs, and they agreed with me that when I saw this ultraviolet blood irradiation, my curiosity is why wasn't this being used in the medical world? And So I started researching that a bit. And that led me to, it was something that was inexpensive, but very effective. It worked on me. It gave me my life back. And by doing that, I said, instead of retiring, I'm going to invest my retirement funds into getting a device that the medical world will accept. We know what it does. Let's get something out there that we can help people. And I'm not all about the money, Casper. It's about efficacy and getting that patient to get a better quality of life for people. And what I was seeing is all my friends are going to the doctors and they're coming back. If they get out of the hospital, I know 3 out of 10 don't come out of the hospital. They go in with pneumonia, and 3 days later, they're 6 feet under. And these are friends that I played tennis with a week before. My curiosity was, why are we continuing down this path of a rotten road when the road's going to fall out from you? And they're not getting any better. I don't think the FDA, and I don't mean to say this negatively, but when I got into the medical world, I started seeing a little bit of political bureaucracy, a lot of funding, and it wasn't to assist the patient getting better. It was more to the business side, and how can we make more money out of this? As a matter of fact, you probably know Bayer bought one of the UBI devices for a couple million, I think it was, and they were charging $5,000 a procedure, and finally they said it just wasn't worth it for them, so they shelved it. And I heard that a lot from some of the other folks that did UBI devices. They just put their hands up and said, we're tired of it. We're fighting the bureaucracy of the government. So I met with some strategists out of Chicago, and we put a plan together that said, this is how we're going to do it. Under the radar, we're going to create our own clinics. We're going to put our PL 2020, our own device, into clinics that want to work with us, such as your clinic, which is very effective. And I saw that your clinic is involved in trying to help the patients. And that's what we want to do. We want to get somebody healthy and not come back. There are some diseases that we do maintenance on: the Lyme, the fibromyalgia, the osteoarthritis, some of the rheumatoid arthritis we're having some good benefits on. I got rid of some of the patients' Alzheimer's. If we can catch it in the beginning, we can actually cleanse out Alzheimer's disease. So this is a very effective product.